Good morning.
Good morning.
It's a little after 10, so, well, I know the morning service is still coming in, but my name is Myra. I'm on the Sunday Forum Committee, and today the RICS Committee, of which John Davenport is a member, is hosting our speaker, and RICS stands for something which I can't remember, but reimagining something. You can say it. So John will introduce our speaker.
So you probably read that our speaker today is Toddrick Barnette, who in 2023 was named to be the Commissioner of Community Safety for the city of Minneapolis. And it's interesting because he graduated from law school here in 1992 from the University of Minnesota Law School, a resident of the District of Columbia, where he went to college. And it's a very interesting story about how he got here. But we're very pleased that he has come to our organization, and he will be talking about the complexities of his position with the city. And it's not just policing. It's about 911 and fire department and community safety. So with no further ado, I'll introduce Toddrick Barnette, our guest today.
Well, good morning. Thanks for having me. I appreciate that. Settled here. Well, thanks, John. I appreciate the warm welcoming. I see some familiar faces. Good to see you again. I'll start by giving you a little bit of background that John did a little bit of personal history. I'll give you a little bit of background about my journey here as Commissioner of Community Safety. So I grew up in Washington, D.C., went to Catholic school growing up, graduated from DeMatha Catholic High School in Hyattsville, Maryland. Used to catch the bus for public transportation for an hour to get to school, and that will be relevant later in what I'm going to talk about today. And then I went to George Washington University. And George Washington University, I graduated from there, was headed to go to school at SIU, Southern Illinois University. I was going to do a fellowship. Had a fellowship to get a master's in criminal justice. I was going to head back to Washington, D.C. and do like a lot of folks, residents there, is work for the government, whether that was D.C. government or the federal government. And Short story is changed my mind a month before I was supposed to leave, set out a year and decided to go to law school, applied to law school. Got into the University of Minnesota, and people go, well, why did you come to the University of Minnesota? Because they gave me a scholarship. Out of all the schools, they gave me a scholarship. So I came up here to the U, and I tell you, I thought I would go back home. I mean, I really did. I thought, hey, I would graduate and I would go back to DC. And part of it, I'll give more personal story and then get back to that. So personal story is my dad went to prison here in Sandstone, Minnesota. So I used to come to Minnesota. I have very little memory. I'm sure we flew into Minneapolis. I don't remember Minneapolis, but I do remember traveling to Sandstone on a bus. I say that because I think several things are relevant when we talk about community safety and where my journey led me. So getting here to Minnesota and coming to visit, I have to tell you that I came to visit in May, and they took me around then Lake of the Isles and Lake Calhoun. And it was one of those nice May days, you know, because as I told you, I had been here before, but I don't think we ever came in the winter. And so it was beautiful. And so I got here, and it was the same day I went through the admissions office, and they offered me a scholarship. I just, thought the world of it. And gosh, I was coming back and come here to go to law school. And then October or November, I think it was October. October hit, and it was, you will laugh about this. I now laugh about it. It was only about 4 or 5 inches on the ground. And if any of you from out east, an inch of snow on the ground, things close down. Well, first you run to the grocery store to get things, then everything closes down. So I say that to say it snowed. It was about 4 or 5 inches on the ground. I'm watching the ticker on the news, and nothing is coming up. University of Minnesota closed or delayed or late. And I run across the street. If you've ever been into the U's entrance, you walk through the glass double doors, and when you come in, it's huge, like this. So you can imagine, I walk in from the coal, and I see one of my friends who's from Minnesota, and I say, you people are crazy. I share that with you because I'm one of those people now, and been here for a long time. I just give you that background as part of our discussion and why this work is so important to me, and why, as we go along, hopefully you can understand some of these important parts of my life, important parts of my journey here. So employment-wise, I got a job at the public defender's office only because I thought I just wanted to make money while I was in school. Ended up staying there. I became a lawyer, became a supervisor. I've done all cases, misdemeanors, gross misdemeanor, felonies, child protection, juvenile cases, from a speeding ticket to a murder case, done them all. Then I went to the county attorney's office, stayed there for about 2 years. Then I went to the Hennepin County bench, and I was there for 17 and a half years. And so people say, why did you leave? Why did you leave to take this job? And I will tell you, and a lot of people have heard this story before, if you knew me before or you're just knowing me now, some people like to go into retirement and they like to ease into it. I like to go on fire. So this is a job that demands a lot of you, and it's a job that I took for a couple of reasons. One, I told you some of my history of getting here. one distinct moment was Rodney King being beaten. And I told you I lived with my grandmother for a very long time. And so I remember her saying to me very distinctly, hey, we finally got them, meaning police brutality has been seen and it was recorded. And so, you know, that was, I think, I was here in law school, so maybe 91, 92. And then years later, she said, you know, that video didn't make a difference. And that stuck with me, has always stuck with me. You fast forward and you have the murder of George Floyd. It brings back a lot of memories. At the time, I was she had passed away, and I was the chief judge here in Hennepin County at the time. And so very well aware of all that was happening. Remember, it was COVID. We shut down the courthouse to do the trial, and I'm happy to answer any questions related to that as well. So when this opportunity came about, it really resonated with me. It really resonated with my work. It resonated with who I am. And so I say that to say all of my jobs, public defender, prosecutor, judge, has always been at the end. Always at the end. And why I say that is something happened, a crime or some incident happened, it comes into the legal system, whether I was a defense lawyer or a prosecutor, and however that case is resolved, or as a judge, that's the end of the road. That's the end of that process. So we're getting it after something has already occurred. And this job allows me the opportunity to be at the beginning and to really have an impact at the start. And so I just wanted to share that with you. So, and please ask me any questions as we go along. If you have questions, I will answer them. So that's all to say, what in the world do I do? As the commissioner, I have 5 departments under me. Those departments, as you can see up here, are 911, emergency management, the fire department, neighborhood safety, and the police department. And so that's the Office of Community Safety and all of the departments under it. And I always say, wow, boy, that looks good on paper, right? But community safety is beyond these 5 departments, right? And so I can't get the work that I need to get done just with these 5 departments. And so as I was going through the appointment process with the mayor and confirmation, that's discussions I had with the mayor was, from my experience and from my view from the outside, I can't do this job if I'm limited to these 5 departments. I need discretion to work with the other departments. I can't run and ask for permission. I need discretion to work with other departments. And so I got confirmed, I think October 19th. Yes, October 19th. I resigned from the bench October 20th. No, maybe it was the 20th and whatever. I started October 23rd, that Monday, whatever date that was. And I say that to you because in November, several things were happening. One, the budget process had already started. The mayor had already given his budget for August. Now we're in that period of time where presentations are being given to council on each department's budget. And then by December, any budget amendments are about to happen. At the same time, 2023, and we're still dealing with some issues around encampments, but there's an encampment. There's a very large encampment. And so I asked to go to the encampment to let the organizers know that we were going to close it. And so I walked up with one of the officers, and I asked them to arrange the meeting. And I went into the encampment. I talked to the organizer there, Nicole. And as I'm talking to Nicole, I said, the city's going to close this encampment. And the next words out of my mouth was, and how could I be helpful? Right? Not knowing the answer to that question, but I asked that question. How could I be helpful in closing this? And she looked me in the eyes and she said, you can get me a dumpster and some trash bags. 911 does not have a dumpster. They might have some trash bags, but they don't have emergency management maybe can get me a dumpster, right? But I'm going to have to get some paperwork done for them to get a dumpster. Fire, no. Neighborhood safety, no. Police department, no. And so I say that to say I walk away with Lieutenant Hoagland, and I said, I don't know where I can get a dumpster, but I can go to Target and get trash bags. And he said, no, Commissioner, you call Public Works. Public Works is not under me. So I call our CEO, Margaret Anderson Keller, from the squad cars. We're going back to drop me off. And I said, Margaret, I need some trash bags in a dumpster. She said, I can get you trash bags. She goes, when do you need them? I said, today or tomorrow. She goes, I'll call Public Works. And that evening, there were trash bags in a dumpster at that encampment. Nothing to do with my 5 departments. But that's community safety. That's how we need to operate as a city. That's what we're trying to do, right? And so when I talked about where I grew up as a child, hopefully these examples will help you understand where we're trying to go. I'm 58, I'll be 59 next month. I went to school, I caught depending on where we were living, some places I walked to school, other places, at least in DC, we didn't have school buses. You had tokens to get on public transportation. At no point when I went to school did I think in school I would be unsafe. At no point did I think walking to school or coming from school I would be unsafe. That never crossed my mind. Literally not, I can't even imagine what that means. But for some of our kids, that is a challenge. Getting to school, navigating encampments and all of the drug activity and other things, prostitution and whatever that goes along with that, needles that they see on the street, and then feeling safe in school. We have to be in a place where our children can, I feel, be like I was. You just go to school, and you come home. That's what we do. I think of how vibrant the city is and can be, and that is, if you work downtown, just being able to catch the light rail, be on public transportation and feel safe, come to work. We need our downtown to be vibrant. We need our downtown to be active. And I think of the challenges that families have and the challenges around violence, challenges around feeling safe and being safe. And so that is the mission. The mission and the goal is for people to feel safe and be safe. And so I'll give you another quick story. In talking to the mayor, we're having a discussion, and he's telling me about what he sees and what have you in this job. And I, I turned to him and I say, so you want to get to the root cause of crime? Yeah. All right. We're talking about encampments and unhoused and all these other things. And I said, so things that's been going on for decades, that's what we want to eliminate. He goes, yeah, I'm in. Let's do it. I'm all for it. And this is why this is important. And I'm going to talk about this mission and vision that I have for our departments, right? So through those discussions, here's the mission. The mission of our office is to provide a coordinated, comprehensive, and equitable safety services to all residents and visitors. I specifically put visitors in there, right? I mean, I specifically asked that visitors been in there. The only thing that I took out, because people got upset with me, but I'll say it publicly, and business owners. Why business owners? We need a strong economy. We need that. And so the vision is that we envision a city where all people feel safe, social disparities are eliminated, and all residents can access opportunity and resources, that we are safe and that we thrive. That is the purpose. And so I guess what I'll try, I think I brought it. So where are we? And then how can we get there? That is the thing, right? A lot of things that are happening in society has been here for a long time. So how do we really get to the root causes, and how do we eliminate them? And so I talk a lot about our community safety ecosystem. And so I'm going to give you the definition, and then I'll tell you about it in reality what it means. It says the ecosystem is a network of organizations, services, and programs. Together, they can work to address the causes of crime and safety issues in our communities. The ultimate goal is to foster safe and thriving communities in Minneapolis. We, in Minneapolis, we have the major components of this ecosystem. What we need to do is bring those pieces together. They're there, we just got to bring them together. We have to coordinate and collaborate and bring these pieces together. So a lot of times people go, what are those pieces? It's all of the city departments. Like I said, safety's not in those 5 departments. It's all of our city departments. If you have a street light out on your street, that's a safety issue. That's in Public Works. We got to get the light on. But we also have to be reasonable when you call. Right? I mean, and I say that because I keep saying this to other departments. If someone calls and they say, hey, there's a light out in my street, our response shouldn't be, oh, someone's already told us that. Right? Right? You don't want to hear that, right? I don't want to hear. You take your car in. When's my car going to be ready? I don't know. What's wrong with it? I don't know. Call me back. It doesn't make sense. Same thing. It's not good customer service. But what we can do is you call. We can tell you that we've gotten that complaint. Don't get me wrong. We should tell you when we think that light's going to be back on. It's that simple. So you know, hey, we usually get that light back on within 2 weeks, right? I mean, we should be able to say that, and you can be mad about the 2 weeks. You can go, oh my God, 2 weeks. I mean, whatever that is, but that gives you, hey, 2 weeks, that light's going to be on. Also, when that light's not on, like for instance, your car is not ready, You're going to call back. We should be able to answer that question. We should be able to tell you, you know, I'm sorry. There was a higher priority that we had to deal with. We're coming next week. Whatever that is, we should be able to help you and let you know that. It's just not that we already have it. So city departments, we got to work together. County services. There's a lot of things that the county does that the city isn't responsible for, that we really need to coordinate these services. State services, same thing. Our schools, Metro Transit, community nonprofits, right? Even for-profit business. And of course, you as individual residents, we need you. We need your input. We need your ideas because we learn from them. There's no one better to tell us what you need than you. That's where government fails. What we do is we come in and we tell you what you need without asking you what you need. I've made those mistakes in other jobs. I won't do that here. And that frustrates people because what they will do is they would say, hey, this great program works in Seattle. You should have it here, right? And we've done that. We've taken great programs and said, here you go, community, this is what you need. Well, that might have worked in Seattle, but that doesn't mean it's going to work here. And not only that, we've thrown money into these things, and then we don't evaluate them. We don't know that they work. And so, as we build out this community safety ecosystem, and in this system, we need to be collaborative at all levels. We need to be transparent. We have to be transparent about what we're doing. We also need to be data-driven. Also, we have to understand what the data points are that we're collecting. We have to understand if we get an outcome, what does that outcome mean, right? So yesterday, what's today? It's Sunday. Friday, I was at a meeting. I think Friday was the same day that they came out. Maybe it was Thursday. They came out with the crime reduction. Crime has gone down in North Minneapolis. Numbers look good. I knock on wood. I absolutely hate those things. I'm so superstitious. You guys don't know. Whenever I hear that the mayor or the chief are going out to talk about how great something is, I go, please don't. Please don't. Just leave it alone. Let somebody else talk about it. Because I know, right? So we talk about those numbers, and they are what they are. Don't get me wrong. They look great. But we know it's going to get warm. We know when it gets warm, crime goes up, right? So great right now, but understanding those numbers at this moment in time, right? You see, so it's really like setting expectations, letting people know, say, yes, these numbers are great. Yes, these numbers are good right now. And what we're looking at is this time period for now. We know that the summer will bring other things. That's just the way it is, and it happens that way. What I'm trying to get around, or trying to really get you to understand, is that the vision of this ecosystem is that if you're in the city of Minneapolis, whether you're a lake in Chicago, or whether you're in Uptown or Kenwood or wherever, our response is going to be the appropriate response. We don't need violence interrupters at every corner. That's not what that neighborhood or community needs. We need that appropriate response. So really kind of wrapping services around folks and getting them what they need. We were talking earlier before I started, and part of the conversation was about this year. This year, we know that community safety will be an issue for the election, for council members and the mayor. It will be an issue, and it will be an issue for the whole time. But listen to what is happening. I just don't believe that we're in a bad place. I really do think we're in a good place and we're moving along. And I want to just talk about that, and then I'll get to my next slide because I'm a talker. I'm going, and there's a lot of other things I want to talk about. So this ecosystem, how do we get there? We have several things to help us. There's the Safe and Thriving Community Report. It's 150 pages. You don't have to read it. I'm going to give it to you in a nutshell. The Safe and Thriving Community Report, Polad family, Minneapolis Foundation, I should say Polad Foundation, Minneapolis Foundation, Joyce Foundation, all contributed money for this report. The report came out 2022. Says you have 3 areas for service. Responsive services, right? Police, right? So you got the response. You have the preventive services, so think of crime prevention, right? And then you have restorative service. Someone's coming out of prison and we want to re-engage them in. So you have 3 main buckets, right? And so no one in the country has been able to do all 3 and been able to do them well. So here comes my mental health either issue or not, depending on where you stand. I want Minneapolis to do all 3 well. I want us to be the first to do all 3 well. If you look at that report, it's a 10-year plan. No one has patience for 10 years, right? But I'm asking people to have patience. And when you look at that report, we're not going to be able to do everything. That's not realistic. We have to be realistic about what our resources are, what our capacity is, and what can we do. But we will do things that challenge people. We're not going to shy away from them. And people go, well, I don't think we can. Don't cry about it. Here's the deal. I don't care, and I can say this. I'm not running for re-election. I'm not an elected official. I'm there to get the work done, right? So whether that's internal fights or external fights, we're going to get this work done. And we have several ways to get it done. We have the Safe and Thriving Community Report. NYU Law School, you'll hear it's the policing project. So it's not really the police, but that's what they call it. $1 million for them to help us. They did an asset and gap analysis off of our Safe and Thriving Community Report, right? Because the Safe and Thriving Community Report tells you, you have the services, you're not coordinated, you're not collaborating. You have them. You're just not doing it. So you got to get these folks to do it. And nobody likes to give up anything, but that's what we're asking people to do. Work together. We can do this. So the asset and gap analysis has showed us places where we can enhance and improve services like our behavioral crisis. They've said, look, you have gaps in certain areas that we need to fill those gaps. And also they'll say, you know what? You need to work together. It's there. Work together. Get the work done. And of course, what we have to help us, we have a settlement agreement with the Human Rights Department from the state. We have a federal consent decree that is pending. Excuse me. The Safe and Thriving Community Report is that roadmap or framework that we'll use. The NYU report, and they're still working with us, is to help us as we implement this 10-year plan. And then we have the settlement agreement consent decree. Make no mistakes about it. You'll hear a lot about compliance with the settlement agreement, compliance with the federal consent decree, or what are you going to do if you don't have a federal consent decree? Two things. One, don't worry about it. You go, why? We're going to do the work anyway. It's the idea of what we need to do in the city is that we have to work beyond compliance. So what has happened in the past is, this is not our first rodeo with the federal government and investigations into our police department. In the past, what has happened is that we have allowed the police to fix themselves. That's what we've done. Every investigation we had them, you fix yourself. What is different now is that as a city, every department has a hand in this. So for instance, you can't have accountability for officers and knowing, let's just say discipline, without a data system to allow you to do that, right? I mean, you need a data system that will collect those data points and do that for you. So you have to have, so that involves IT. What used to happen in the past is the police department would say, hey, we have this software or whatever, and this is what we're going to do, and IT makes it work, right? Nope, we're not doing that. IT is involved at the start, and there might be a data system that works that actually is better for the whole city, not just the police department. The police department is a part of the ecosystem. They're not the ecosystem, right? They're not it. They're part of what we do. They're just one piece, and they're a major piece, don't get me wrong. And so we have to move together as a city, and that's what we're doing. I'm bringing all of these folks together to move along. One example for you is that the federal consent decree brought all departments together, had the city attorney there, and had the city attorney tell all departments, here's where the consent decree is the same as the settlement agreement, here's where it's different, here's where there's new work. So why are we doing that? Because the work can't stop. We can't wait for the judge to sign the agreement. We can't wait for the lawyers to, we got to keep going, right? And so that's what we're doing. We're keeping going. And some things are just good practice, right? They're the best practice, and we should be doing them. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to keep moving along. Where am I at on time? Okay, I'll go real quick. I know you go, why are you going quick now? So all the departments, I'll just hit on some of them real quick. Minneapolis police, the only thing you really need to know, their numbers need to get up. They're at about 580. We've lost 500 officers since 2020. We should be at least at our number of 731. We're at 580, which is good, because we were at 530. I think 550, I think when I started. I know you go, gosh, it's only 30 people in a year. But that's the competition around the country for law enforcement. We're not the only ones. Every law enforcement agency is low. You hear it all around the country. We're no different. We got to fight for officers. 911, what's great about them that they've done is they have a new system, an automated system, which they used to have a person have to call back when someone hung up. Now they have an automated system to do that, and it's helped them because that automated system allows people, you still stay in line, right? So if you say, I need you, you still stay a high priority. You don't go to the bottom of the line. But it helps them not have to have that person do it each time and gives them a good time. Every time I say they're almost full capacity since 2020, they lose a person by retirement or something. So I'm not going to say that. Emergency management. What is emergency management doing? People don't hear about emergency management, so I'm getting them out into the community. They stay in their office. They're great. They're great if an emergency happens, but they need to get out in the community and do more things for preparing. Fire, I always call fire. They're my favorite child. Nobody talks bad about fire. The fire department, really for them is getting them, we call it 3 on a rig. We're trying to get their number increased to 4 on a rig. And so that's going to be hard with the tight budget, but we're trying to do some things with grants and things like that to increase. They should operate more as 4 on a rig. They're doing a great job anyway. Neighborhood safety, as you know, they've been in the news a lot. I've been in the news because of it. What can I tell you about it? It's in a good place. I know people, you hear a lot of back and forth, and I can answer questions about that. They've done a great job with getting compliance, being transparent about processes, and getting the infrastructure in place to be sustainable. Safe and thriving community work, we can talk about later, and the partnerships we've done. Looking forward to 2025, that is the baseline of 2025 for me is to continue to build these collaborations and coordination more and more and more and more. That's the most important thing as we move along. So I will just say real quick, if you go online to the city's webpage, you can get our OCS, which dispatches a newsletter. You can sign up for it. How can you get involved? You can get involved just by, if you follow any of the work of our city council, follow the work, come down there. There are organized groups that come down. You're a resident just like them. Come down if you can. If you can't, pay attention. Get to your own community groups. Know what's going on. That's the most important thing for your community. So I'll stop there and take questions. Yes, ma'am. They're going to bring you a mic, they tell me.
That sounds good. Thank you. We have a committee here at Plymouth, the Immigrant Justice Committee, and we would want to know what the city is doing to keep the immigrants safe at this time.
So we're doing some really great things. So internally, since I think December, it's been since December, we get our departments, so we've gotten all of the departments together. We've gone through, we don't ask immigration status or anything like that unless we have to. Like there's some things for employment we have to ask, but other than that, we don't. A lot of people want to know about the law enforcement side of it. Law enforcement does not work to just on an immigration status. So if someone's here illegal, our law enforcement officers don't go out to get them. But remember, here's that expectation thing. Any agency that's in our city, we usually know about it. So if any federal agency, any city that's doing surveillance here or a warrant, we usually know about that. So don't get me wrong. And the reason why we do, they know when we're in their city. And the reason why we do that is for safety. So if there is a safety concern, no matter what agency it is, we're going to go help them. So I just want you to know that. So that's one thing I'm super afraid of, because it's going to look like we're helping ICE, and actually we're just trying to make sure everybody's safe. So if they're in a situation that's unsafe, and I'll give you a quick example, if someone knows that ICE is there and they start to protest and it gets violent, we got to help. That's just the way it is. We're not picking sides. That's our job. So we're going to do that. But as a city, we are collaborating with the county. We're collaborating with the state. We have formal lines of communication and informal line of communications. And our biggest thing that we want to be able to combat is misinformation. We want to be, and it's not, I think for Minneapolis, we're in a good place. It's these rural areas where the media won't get the information as fast, but we just have that ability to get things out fast. So I think we're doing the best we can, but we're working together, which is great.
What is one program in the city that you would like to see initiated or fortified to eliminate these social disparities that are in the vision? One program.
What? Oh, you could say a program, so now you're locking me into a program. Police recruitment program. Why? You say, why would I say that? If I could increase the number of officers, I can tell you right now, my life would be 50% better. Your life would be 100% better. I just say 50% because I got 4 other departments. The issue is a lot of our criminal element are doing things because it's an opportunity, because they don't see police. They don't see someone. So the best way I can describe it is when I first got here, a young officer came to me and he said, and we're taking a lot of work off their plate. Don't get me wrong. We have people going out to address mental health issues and not call police. We have embedded social workers and police force to go out and talk. So we're doing a great job pulling work from them. But what they're doing is running from call to call to call, and it's just not sustainable because the priorities are so high. So if I can get that number of police officers up, I relieve the stress from them. You would see them more often. They would respond quicker, because if I'm at a priority 1 and I want to come to address your garage that got broken into and someone stole your bike, on my way there, I get another priority 1 call. I'm not showing up until 4 hours later and you're pissed at me. And that's what one of the young officers was trying to tell me. So you're telling me I just left a priority 1 call with a young child being injured, and you want me to go to somebody's house, they're mad at me because I'm showing up 4 hours later and I'm supposed to be happy. And I said, yes, that's your job, because that is their job. The problem is I got to find a way to give them a stress reliever. I got to find a way to bring that number up so that officer who's already stressed out, we can take them out of service. We can give them a break if it's a shift, if it's a day, if it's a couple of days. We're so lucky because these officers, the reason why crime is down, the reason why our numbers look good is because we're doing it with 40% overtime. We can't do that. A mistake's going to happen. We just can't. That's why I need the numbers. So that's when you ask me, I want the number, because it'll address a lot of things. Yes?
First, I want to say I'm involved in community safety with the Plymouth group here and the League of Women Voters.
Yep.
And so we're watching, and thank you so much for all you're doing for our city. I don't feel like you get thanked enough.
You must have seen me in front of the city council.
But the question I have is,
Yes.
2 of the last 3 city councils we've had since George Floyd's murder have been sort of obsessed with taking money from the police and giving it to other places, and that's how your department came to be. But, and I support, the broad range of the public safety approach to community safety. But in my own neighborhood, Uptown, we had with great fanfare an announcement that we were going to have violence interrupters there.
Who told you that?
Katie Cashman in her...
So I just say, the reason I asked, it was no one from my office, but go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So she told us she had found this money. We were going to have them for the, laughably, like 3 weeks, through the end of March. Nobody has seen them. So how's that handled in your department?
Thanks for that question.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. Quick Civics council can make budget and funding amendments and say, please go do this, right? And when I first got here, my first year here for 2024, we had, I think, 40 budget amendments for the city. 2025, we had almost 80 budget amendments. Okay? So why do I bring that up? I bring that up because you can recommend something, you can tell us that, but how does that work into, number one, our priorities? And you can have a great idea, but we have to start from scratch a lot of times. And that takes time. And that's what I try to tell them plenty of times is that, one, it might be a great idea. Two, does it fit in our community safety ecosystem? And then three, do we have the capacity to do it? So yes, don't get me wrong. I've had to tamper the mayor down, right? Because, and he's done a great job with understanding now why things take so long, Todd. That's him. That's me impersonating him. Why is this taking so long? Because we want it to be right. We want it to work, right? And so, great ideas. How does that fit? How do I know I need a violence interrupter in Uptown, right? I'm not trying to be single out Uptown, but it's what are we doing? We need, and that's why these budget amendments drive me crazy, because it takes away from the main objective. It doesn't stop me, but it sure slows me down. If we weren't in church, I'd really tell you what I think. I'll use different language. My point is, for all elected officials, they can go out and make statements, they can tell, and I will be the first, because I've been standing there with them, and they said, we gave the Office of Community Safety money. Yeah, you did. Did you consult me before you did it? If you go back and read an op-ed that I did in the Star Tribune a couple of weeks ago, I was pissed when I did that. And that's because they wanted to move $1.2 million out of neighborhood safety, and they didn't consult me. They come up with great ideas, and you have to consult the people that do the work, so you have you can disagree, but you got to consult so you have all the information. Just let's have good governance. So I don't know all the specifics of what was said, but the reason why I asked who told you, because it was someone from my office, I would be like, well, who was it? Because we need to be in a place where we're not right now, but we're getting there, where we dispatch. Right now, when I got here, we had a bunch of contracts with violence interrupters in certain areas. I didn't control their hours. What kind of nonsense is that? I couldn't tell them where to go, except for a neighborhood. Like, you're in this neighborhood, I can tell them what street to go to. That's nonsense, right? I mean, I need you at this place from 11 to 3, because that's when the crime is happening, 11 p.m. to 3 in the morning. I don't need you to be off at 4 o'clock. So we have to be in a position to make sure that we're mindful in doing these things where we are having the right response. And I'll just say this, because the thing that pains me the most and that makes me sad is I have to stand up in front of you and say, we have this 10-year plan, but you're feeling it right now. And some of that you're feeling right now is because I have a lack of control over what I can give you. And that's the reality. But I'll say this, you don't need violence interrupters when you're getting hijacked, you're getting carjacked, or you're getting a pistol put in your face. It's not a violence interrupter, that's the police.
Thank you.
Yep.
Can I borrow your mic and just
Yes.
say, Okay, so we're past time.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. There's 2 more questions. Some people might leave for the late service. I just want to say that next week, I'll say next week, and then we can have more questions. So next week, we have Dan Walpert here. He was an interim minister a few years ago. He's going to talk on the topic of looking inward, living outward, and so I hope you come back. So Scott and Shirley have questions still.
There was a fender bender in my neighborhood in Seward yesterday, and I immediately called 911, and they said they don't send squads to these anymore. Well, I went out there to see if these young ladies were injured, and I also told the 911 dispatcher that there was debris all over the intersection, and she said, "Oh, the tow trucks cleaned that up." So I wanted your thoughts about that. Wanted to hear your thoughts about that.
We need better customer service. I'll start with that. It's how we communicate, right? It's how we communicate this information that's so important. And that's the part that I'm really talking about. Police will respond to car crashes. It's just, what do they need it for? So here's one of the things we're working on. They'll show up if they get a call that people aren't sharing, someone refuses to share their information. They'll show up for that. They'll show up if someone is under the influence, right? If you call because there's an injury and that we need them there, they will. They are correct in saying that a tow truck will probably come and clean that up. Unfortunately, that's where we're at. But what we're trying to do internally, and I don't know that we're going to get there, I'm trying to use the traffic agents to do this work. But so the traffic control people that you see, the issue is that really doesn't take work away from the police. The issue is it provides good customer service. And in a budget that we're approaching, I don't know that I can get that, right? I mean, because the reality is it's just better to have human contact than to call 311 to do the report. I mean, I think for me, that's just where I'm at. But we need better customer service to explain where we're at. And I get that you called, and I'm sorry we just didn't do a better job at explaining why the police aren't there, why they're not going to come unless these things are happening. And I know one reason they won't say it because the person might call and go, okay, I refuse to give my information. And then the police come and, so. What was the next question? Yes.
My question is about recruitment.
Yes.
We at Plymouth are experiencing a loss of our paid leadership, and for some it's kind of scary, and but it's it's a fact of life. For some of us, we're looking at it as this is an opportunity. We have a lot of good leadership, our lay leadership, and we're going to shape this into something really good. At what point do you think that the police department, that you'll be able to say, come join us, we are the best police department in the country?
Oh, I'll say that now. Come join us. We're the best police department in the country. And you ask me, you got a settlement agreement and a consent decree. Like, how could you say that? Because I think most of the bad ones left already. And if you see some of these young people that are coming in, they're amazing. They get it, right? They get how to talk to people. They get the idea of what we're doing. So why would I say that? Because we're under such a big microscope that everything we do has to be transparent. I just sent an email 3 months ago. So I have a consultant named Danny Murphy. Danny Murphy worked on Baltimore's consent decree. Danny Murphy worked in New Orleans' consent decree. He's worked all over the country. He's worked with Louisville while they've been negotiating their consent decree. And you go, why do you have Danny Murphy? I have Danny Murphy so I don't make mistakes. So I sent an email to our independent evaluator team, Alifa, to say, and I put our city attorney on the email, you have full access to Danny Murphy. You can ask him anything you want to. You don't have to ask me permission. You don't have to, and Danny doesn't have to discuss what you've talked about. Why? Because they should have eyes into what we're doing so we can be compliant so that we don't make mistakes. And so, can't run away from a consent decree or settlement agreement. You talk about opportunity? It's an opportunity to be great. Be your best. Everybody's looking at you. So the officers, you are, woe me, come on. You're mad because someone called you a bad name? So what? People get frustrated. We show up 4 hours late. You should call us a bad name, right? Show up within a few minutes for some of these low-level crimes, and people will treat you different, right? We just don't have the numbers to do it. But I do think we're in such a good place because we have all of these resources. I'm going to get the number wrong, so don't quote me, but this is what it's like. These officers had maybe 20, 30 hours of mandatory training. They're going to have like almost 200 hours of mandatory training coming their way. That's amazing on what we're going to require them. It's a tough job. We have so many good people. And just to show you how just good, we have more lateral hires, people from other law enforcement offices coming here than we've ever had before. And you could only do that, you could only get them by word of mouth. That's not a recruitment campaign. That's other officers telling them you should come work here. That I couldn't do social media ad or anything to get that officer. So I think we're on the right track. And they're human beings, they're going to make mistakes. We have to accept that, and we'll have to deal with it, but we'll deal with it appropriately, just like any other job. So hopefully that's helpful.
How about a big round of applause?
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, we all thank Commissioner Barnette.
Thank you very much.
And we're welcome to go to the next service. Could you stay to answer questions?
Yeah, sure.
You will stay if you have any other questions.